So Involv Intranet is basically a layer on top of your SharePoint environment, meaning you have still all the great core features of SharePoint, you're still using it for content management and things like that. We're just adding features and capabilities on top of that. Now, importantly as well, data privacy is a very big thing these days. All the data you put into SharePoint components and SharePoint features stays on your environment. You're not using anything of our services, which makes it very easy security-wise, of course. Okay. Now, of course, it is all about the features. So one of the big things that SharePoint offers is search. It's not very configurable out of the box, especially modern SharePoint. Involv adds a lot of functionalities there. So our search is very customizable, queries, templating for how to display search results, makes it very easy for even end users to use and configure. You can also do things like synonyms, search scopes if you want to limit the scope that you're currently searching in. You can also do things like spell checks automatically. So a lot of great features are there to just make it easier to use, because search is a very crucial part of any intranet these days.
Just like the navigation, for example.
Yeah, especially navigation as well. Now, again, SharePoint has grown in navigation capabilities as well. So they have things like audience targeting and mega menus. Of course, we've had them as well for quite some time. But again, ours is much more configurable. So you can pretty much style it any way you want. It's not just a basic mega menu. Especially useful if you have a lot of information architecture, if you have a more complex structure. You have a lot of things available to you in the navigation. Also for multilingual and things like that. Again, we have a lot more options than SharePoint does.
What about personalizing your intranet as an end user?
Yeah. This is something that Microsoft's not investing in that heavily, but we do have quite a lot of options for. So it can be as simple as having a user select which quick links are available on their homepage. And if you have a very big list of 100 quick links that might be useful to someone, you can allow an end user to select their own. But it's not just like that. You can also even have users choose which components are available on the homepage. So you can have a drastically different homepage per person. But again, like any personalization, it's not something that's required.
Optional. It's an option.
It's an option indeed, yeah.
And what about displaying information on different channels?
Yeah, this is a very relevant question for today. A lot of people are on different devices all day long. So you have your mobile device, you have smart screens in different locations. So as an author inside an intranet, you want to distribute your information from the intranet to all those different devices. So for that, we have a lot of different multi-channel options where you can actually push a news article, for example. You can push it to, for example, a smart screen using our Involv Cast solution that we have an example of behind us indeed. So this is very simple. You define what is shown on the screen, a news feed, for example, and then it's pushed automatically there if you select it as an author that it needs to be pushed, obviously. So that way you can trigger people if they're in the cafeteria, for example, and they're seeing that screen. If they see the short description, the title of the news article, they can take out their phone, they can go to their desktop and read.
And talking about phones, we also have a mobile app.
Yeah, of course. It's everyone is using their mobile phone more and more. Also, not just everybody has a work phone, but also on their private phone. So we have the option for an Involv Intranet app. We can also create a branded app if that's something you're looking for. And obviously, again, you can configure which information is being shown there. It's not just the standard SharePoint app where you have no settings. It's just that's the way it looks. For us, you can select which news feeds are shown, which content is shown, searching the who's who, having your news feed in there, having your incidents in there.
So Tom, we have desktop, mobile app, Involv Cast, our digital signage solution. What about Teams?
Teams, obviously, everybody spends a lot of time in Teams these days. So you can do an integration with just pushing a message to a Teams environment, a chat message saying there's a new news article that's popped up, for example. As an author, you can do that notification. Or you can do full integration, where you actually have a button inside your Teams environment to visualize your intranet within Teams. No need to open up the browser or anything else. So that's an option as well.
So we can display information on different channels. What about notifications?
So we have a lot of options there as well. I mentioned Teams
You did.
before. You can just do chat notifications in Teams, but obviously to the mobile app, we can send push notifications as well.
Yep.
So you
Correct.
don't need to open up the app. We can actually, as an author, send push notifications to either everyone with the app or a very specific group, if you just want to target management, for example.
Sure.
If you have an incident, if you have a very important news article, you can immediately send those out. So we have Teams notifications, mobile app notifications, and of course, most importantly still, it's email notifications. And the mailbox is still something very critical within most companies. So you can just push a notification for one news article, for example. But also you have the option to send out a newsletter.
Yeah.
Weekly newsletter highlighting the most important news events, incidents, combining all of those in a very personalized newsletter. Because again, some of these features are things that Microsoft can do with standard SharePoint, but it's not that configurable. Our newsletter can come from a specific email address, have a custom styling based on your specific corporate style. You define who's sending it, how it looks, you're in control, not just the defaults from Microsoft.
All right.